Grit. What is the story behind it? How do we get started with it? You know, I've got partner in crime here, Lee Willette.
Hey, what's going on?
And I'm Sherelle Lands, and we're just so excited about this concept called Women with Grit, where we interview just exceptional women within the community and around the world who are doing phenomenal things. So how do we get started with this concept, Lee?
Well, I think ultimately it was a reaction to COVID. We were literally working on a different concept that involved women and really helping women have the opportunities to progress in their careers, and we're really putting something together to do that. And we had all these people lined up to interview and to get information from, and COVID happened. So.
That changed life for everyone.
It did, and so for us, we were talking one day, and so we were talking about what we're doing, and I said, I'm thinking about doing this podcast, and I'm thinking about doing this, and you said, okay, let's do it. And so Women with Grit came.
There it is. Big on execution, we make it happen.
Yes, so it's been exciting.
Yes, it has. We've had just phenomenal guests even over the last year, and looking forward to all that's coming ahead. So how can they reach us?
They can reach us on YouTube, Exceptional Women with Grit. You can subscribe to our page. You can check out our Facebook page, Women with Grit, or you can go to our website, womenwithgrit.com.
That's it.
And the best way to catch us is Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time, when Sherelle and I are live with our guests. And literally, I think the most exciting thing for me is what we talked about. We wanted to have a program that addressed that brought in women from around the world. So that's our globe here. We literally interview people in Bogota, Colombia, over in London, and then all over the United States as well. So that's been exciting. That's one of the benefits of COVID. Everybody's used to this virtual world, and nobody feels like they have to fly in to be live in the studio.
That's right. So hopefully you will join us live or catch the replay, right?
The replays, that's right. We have a bunch of replays, and I mean, if I were you, I would binge listen. People binge watch on Netflix, binge listen and watch Women with Grit. There have been some phenomenal interviews and some phenomenal tips that will help anyone. We have men and women that watch.
That's right.
And I think the tips that you get, the things that you learn from these women that are our guests will help anyone advance their careers, advance their lives, and just really live a full life and a happy life. And I think that's exciting.
Yes, I would agree 100%. So if you're interested, definitely join us, follow us, engage with us, like us, share it, all of those things. And if you know a phenomenal woman or a woman with grit that you would recommend being on the show, be sure that you write us on any one of those forums, and a member of our team will get back to you.
Yes. And don't forget, if you have a product or service, a company that you want to promote or a cause, give us a shout. We're happy to do that. There is a cost, but it's not much. Not yet. So you better get in while it's cheap.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you. And so far, we'll see you online.
Talk to you later. Peace.
Bye. We are so excited that you all are joining in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might find yourself in the world. We are so excited that you took the time to join in with us today for Women with Grit. Hey, Lee. All right. Okay. I want to make sure that you're talking on mute, Lee. Yep, you're still on mute. We'll work that out. But we're so excited that you all had an opportunity to join in with us this evening. There you are. Hey, Lee.
Hey, Sherelle. How are you?
Doing well.
Oh, gosh. This technology is wonderful as long as it works. And
it works. That's right.
Yeah, so initially, I couldn't hear you, and that's why I put it on mute. And then now we're all good. So it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. I've been
I know. Exactly. I was just about to say, how has he done?
He's been doing well. His teams, I think they've only lost, I guess, 3 games now. But he's been
Okay.
having a heck of a senior year in basketball. So we're just he's got one play that I think has got over 4,000 views right now on
Fantastic.
Twitter. Yeah, yep. So
You must
and
be proud.
yeah, I'm happy for him. Just, as a parent, you're happy to see your kids do their thing, and
Yeah,
especially when they put the work into
that's right.
into their craft and see the benefits from it. So, yep, it's
That's
fun.
right.
Yep.
That is exciting. Oh my goodness. And this is our finale show for season 2. How about that? Was it 2 or
Yes.
3? We're on
3.
This is
Season
3.
3.
3
Yes. 3. Yep.
for season 3, closing out season 3. So excited. And so you guys, we will be off for the last 2 weeks of the year. Last 2 weeks of the year, first week of January, and then we kick off on the 11th, I believe is when we kick off with season 3. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this shows and the women who have come on with their inspiring stories thus far. We have another amazing story to share with you all. And
I
you
tell you.
guys, if you've been following us, you actually met her mother, Carrie, and now tonight we have Ashlee, CEOs and co-founders for Mixtroz. But before we go any further, we want to make sure we take an opportunity to thank our sponsors who have been with us thus far. Know that in January, kicking off season 3, we do have more sponsors that will be joining the dais, and we're so excited to have them as well. If you are interested in sponsoring, you have maybe another week to respond. Let us know if you would like to be one of our sponsors to the show in the future. And again, as you guys are joining in, feel free to leave the city, state, country that you're tuning in from. We had South Korea the last time, Nashville, Maryland. We had Colombia. We've got people from all over the world. So let us know where you are joining in from. Hey, Justin. Hey, Sharonda. Regardless of what feed you're chiming in on, we've got about 5 different feeds going, I think, tonight. So we're just so excited that you all took time to join in with us. So, Lee, who do we have to thank?
Hey, today we're going to thank MJC Insurance Group. Mr. Leon Wright is the owner of MJC, but I work with Brianna over at MJC. And the cool thing about MJC is that they'll shop, a number of companies. They're not just stuck with one company to offer you, so they're not captive, and they just find the best fit for you. So that's what I really like. And whether it's auto insurance, homeowners insurance. I'm a real estate developer, so when I have a new build and I need builder's risk, I can get a quote from them. And even a few months ago, Brianna called and said, "Hey, I can get you a cheaper rate." And I said, "Really?" And she was just doing her review of my file. So check out MJC. Go online, mjcins.com, mjcins.com, and send them a message, and they'll get you quotes and everything that you need. Secondly, we're going to thank Mr. Terrell Perry at Moet Investment Services. Terrell, Terrell at Moet Investment Services. Terrell is here to help you. Now, I know I'm going to stop right where I am. I know people are talking about what they're going to do next year and how they're going to start building wealth. They're going to start investing. They're going to start saving. They're going to start doing all these things. Well, you need a coach that can help you do that, and Terrell's your guy. So email him, Terrell at MoletInvestmentServices.com. He can also get you life insurance. Hey, we don't know what's going on some of these days, and we don't know the date we're checking out. Make sure you don't check out without coverage that takes care of your family. I want to thank Sherelle Lance, my co-conspirator, my partner on Women with Grit. Sherelle is just rocking and rolling. She's got books. She doesn't have any tapes anymore, or CDs, but you can download her training and everything. Go check out her web. Now, I think you're on mute now, Sherelle. Go check out her website, sherellelance.com, and check out what she has. Also, visionstrategymanagement.com, and check out her courses, her books, everything that you need to really get your personal self and your business in the mode of execution. So it's one thing to have that stuff on the shelf and have all these great plans, but if you don't execute them, they're worthless. So Sherelle's the executor, not the one that
Yeah,
will take you out, but she's the one that's going to make sure you grow your business. And we want to thank
that's
the
right.
table, thetableaction.com. Go to the website, www.thetableaction.com. Check it out. It's making a big difference in Middle Tennessee. We're seeing many people making great connections that are allowing them to advance their careers, grow their businesses, and just meet different people, and also understand race and have a better understanding of race, and
Hmm.
meeting other people that aren't like them. And sometimes you have to be intentional about doing it. It's also good to be able to do it in a safe environment where you can ask real questions and have a real conversation, and not find yourself canceled the next day because you said something that you didn't know you shouldn't say. Now, sometimes you do need to get canceled, but our goal
Yeah.
with the table is to not have to cancel you. It's really to educate you.
And you know
And
something, Lou, one of the things that I really like about the table is the authentic conversations that happen
mhm,
around the table, and it's the
yes,
authentic sharing. So,
yes, yep. And this really interesting. I've learned a lot. I've come a long way myself. So
yeah.
it's so many people have different stereotypes that they feed into, and biases that we feed into. And it's not one. It's not that stuff's not owned by one race. We all do it. And
Hmm.
so once as we can, I believe most people are good people and want to do what's best for others. But this is an opportunity to really help us grow and to be the people we want to be, and treat people that we want to be treated. Uh, and and so check them out, thetableaction.com. And lastly, Frank Stanton Developers. Hey, we're getting ready. We're breaking ground on Church Street right now. We've started
That's
grading
awesome.
on 129 new condos, and you can check
That's
out the City Group at Village Realty. Shantae Pollard is our primary agent, but check them out. They're our sales team. You can go to Alto, ALTO, Contralto, CONTRALTO.com to find out more about these condos. They're going to be at 15th and Church. So we call it Central City. We're not calling it Midtown because it's gotten so broad. So check us
awesome.
out. Those are our sponsors, and we want to thank each and every one of you all uh, for joining us today. Make sure you like, share. Call your friends
Share it.
up, because I tell you what, this Ashlee Ammons ain't no joke.
That's
She's done
right.
some things. She's done some things that I'm gonna ask her about them, because it's some things that I know, and she's just phenomenal with some of the things that she's done, even outside of Mixtroz. And if you haven't checked out Mixtroz, Google it, Mixtroz. We used it with the table to really to get our groups together when we first got started, because they had a virtual model that really helped us out. All right, that's all I have, Sherelle. What do you have?
Yeah. No, you know what? I think we should jump right into it, and
Let's do
definitely
it.
bring Ashlee on. So I want to go ahead and share with you guys a little bit about Ashlee. Ashlee Ammons she holds a BA in Mass Communications and Public Relations from Baldwin Wallace University. She is the 38th Black female to raise over 1 million in pre-seed funding. And prior to co-founding Mixtroz with her mother or sister, if you're looking at the chat function, Carrie Schrader, Ashlee established a career as an events producer, working with an impressive list of A-listers, including Oprah Winfrey, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Jay-Z, as well as legacy bands like Hennessy and Coca-Cola. Ashlee serves on the executive board of Tech Birmingham and is an advisor to the Nashville Entrepreneur Center following her time on the NEC board. Ashlee is the 2019 Birmingham Business Journal 40 Under 40 recipient, as well as Birmingham's 40 Under 40 of the Decade and Business Journal's National Rising Star. Amazing. Ashlee and her mother were named Powerful Women by the Entrepreneur magazine on its inaugural list in November of 2019. In November of 2020, Ashlee was selected among the 100 Black female entrepreneurs and innovators presented with the funding, as well as 100 days of resources by Amex, and I Fund Women of Color as part of their new 100 for 100 program. I tell you guys, you are in for a treat. If you're someone who is looking to do entrepreneurship, looking to exemplify that grit, you know, you guys are in for a treat with Ashlee. So we're going to bring Ashlee on. Hey, Ashlee, how are you?
Hey there, how are you?
Doing well, and yourself?
Good, good, good. So I know that my mom is watching, and so I want to put her on blast for a second. Y'all, my computer is not working well. So if I could get a PO open to get a new computer, Mom, for the business, that would be fantastic, because it just took from like 6:50 till now to get this thing popping, but God is good because it's working now. So hello, hello, hello. It's good to see everybody.
Hello, hello,
Thank
hello.
you for taking the time to join us. But you know what? That's the part of the entrepreneurship journey, right? It's the constant evolution of services and products, and the need to constantly upgrade. So in real time.
In real time, like I'm there. And I like to tell everybody, like when I get on things that are after hours, I'm like, let me keep it 100 with everyone, because I wanted to be here because Lee is a close friend, Sherelle is a new friend, but I just got done at the gym and I just got out the shower so I could be here for you fine people, and I'm hot, which is why I got no sleeves on. So it's just going to be what it is.
That's all good.
That's awesome.
Hey.
Yeah.
We have those days.
We like to keep it real, so absolutely.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
it.
And we have to work out to keep the paces that we're keeping. So
That's it.
And you're on a fast pace, so you got to make sure you stay healthy.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So Carrie said, no, it's not in the budget, by the way.
Of course. Wait, I was going to say, of course you did. Great.
Yeah, Carrie's never met a dollar she didn't want to keep. So,
boy, ooh, Lee.
So Ashlee, tell us a little bit more about you. Tell us a little bit more about Mixtroz for those who did not see Carrie. So Carrie was our guest in our, I want to say it was season 1, and she closed out season 1 for us. Yeah. And now we have obviously you closing out season 2, but tell us a little bit more about you and your unique story of grit.
Yeah, so my grit starts early because my mom is who she is. So I feel like I've had grit from a young age. You know, I always had a woman or women in my life who were, you know, due north, and I could see what success looked like, you know, as a woman of color in many different fields, you know, be it education, nursing. My mom was in manufacturing, so I've been blessed to have, you know, all of these people to look to. So my story really starts in my undergrad experience. So grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. Then we moved to Lexington, Kentucky for high school. That's when my mom's job started moving us around a bit. Then went back to Ohio for college, went to a small liberal arts school in Cleveland, was very involved, you know, on the campus at the school, and, you know, made it my business to know a little bit of everybody on that campus. That led me to landing an internship with LeBron James, which was transformative. And, you know, I was able to work with LeBron and his team for 2.5 years plus. And then I wanted to go to New York City. And so, you know, I used the connections that I had made with LeBron to get myself to New York City. And I started off, as many people do, as an executive assistant, and just knew that that wasn't the end. That was the means. And so I used, you know, that position and my position in the company to work my way up, became a director of events, you know, as you heard in my bio, working for a lot of different celebrities and brands and all of that. I was living the dream in New York. And then my mom and I came up with this idea to solve a problem, which brings us to this part of the story. And as far as what Mixtroz is, my mom and I, on the same weekend back in 2014, and it's interesting because my mom probably said this, but Lee was the first person we ever told about Mixtroz, because he was somebody that we trusted, and we were like, he will tell us if we're crazy. Like, he will say, guys, that's probably not going to be it. And had he not said, that's a good idea, we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about it today. So I always have to bring that part up for Lee. So, you know, my mom and I, we worked in events, and my mom worked in human resources. And so we understand humans. And so we recognize that people are not so great at networking, like when we go somewhere in person, virtual, what have you. We're not great at it. And so we created a tool to solve for that. So our service today is all about building community on demand plus data on demand. So we're all about helping people engage better, but then also collecting data, making it a 360-degree ROI. So we work with events, associations, higher education, and inside of business enterprises for that function. So that is what we do. That's very quick nutshell.
There you go. Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, when we started the table, we had an opportunity to use Mixtroz, and the cool thing was, and we all go to meetings or conferences, and we're getting ready to start going back. But even on those big Zooms, I mean, it's like a whole bunch of people, but you don't really form any real relationships, and so we were able to, and they pivoted really quickly with their virtual model, which allowed us to break out groups out of Zoom and have diverse groups. So it wasn't a homogenous group. There were people that you didn't know, all based on this algorithm. So it was really, really cool the way that worked, and it really helped people, hurry up and get introduced to each other. I'm looking forward to seeing, how you all kick off the year. But Ashlee, you've thrown, and I'll go to this before I go back to some serious questions. But I mean, you've thrown like parties with for people that had like crazy budgets. What's that experience like? And you can tell them what budgets you work with, but what's that experience like? Because you left that life.
I did leave that life. So that experience is totally not, like, it doesn't feel real. It's like the stuff that you read about in the gossip magazines and stuff like that. It's like I look at those and I know some of those people, and then I'm like, oh, I used to produce parties like that. So budgets were anywhere from $10,000 upwards of a few $1,000,000, depending on who it was, who the client was, that sort of thing. I did a birthday party once for somebody that was like $2 million and had to pull it together in, I think as a team, we had maybe 3.5 weeks. Like, we built a dome basically at the end of the Las Vegas Strip to make that happen. Wow. The caliber and scale of some of the things I used to work on was extraordinary. That particular event was interesting though, because Hurricane Sandy, so this was back in like 2012. So Hurricane Sandy happened. We didn't know how we were going to get out of New York to get to Las Vegas, but you know what? You figure out how to make things happen. I've been in scenarios where we were doing a big concert on New Year's Eve, and it was Jay-Z and Coldplay and Beyonce and some others, and we had to find a plane for Kanye West because he wanted to come perform. So, I've been in some really interesting scenarios, which is great. I think all those experiences just make you a more well-rounded person. I think as an entrepreneur, it helps you keep your cool under pressure, because I've seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff and I've been able to handle it in real time. So, I'm a big believer that life prepares you for what is prepared for you. So I'm like, I feel like God knew where my life was going, and all those things leading into it were preparing me to be able to handle the things that come to you in entrepreneurship.
Yep. Perfect. And so and I say you kind of left that life because that was for those of us on the outside, we say, oh man, that's glamorous. That's you balling out.
Yeah.
And so you kind of left that and then decided to go into this entrepreneurship life. And which, we all know, some days are glamorous, and then there are the real days that you have to work that aren't so glamorous. But making that transition, what was it that made you know with it, without even the product itself, but what was it that gave you the confidence that you needed to make that transition? Because you were making good money, you were doing great things, and and you made a move that from New York to Birmingham. So at the end of the day, but what gave you the confidence that you would do well?
Well, I think one of the misconceptions about having a job that sounds so glamorous, like the New York job, like you have a job that sounds glamorous, but if you're good at the job, it's not glamorous because your job is to make everyone else look good. And I feel like the people who fail at those jobs in New York or who get like sucked into New York and don't, aren't able to perform or that sort of thing, they get too wrapped up into the glitz and glamour of it and forget that they're there to do a job. One thing I was good at, and I think it comes from my experience, like being 19 and working with LeBron and whatnot, I became just very mellow around that caliber of talent or whatever. I lost it one time for Oprah, but that's a whole different story. But, for the most part, I just looked at the talent as they're doing a job. They breathe like we do, they fall like we do, all the things. They're here to do a job. Like ultimately I would like go meet someone outside and be like, hi, I need you to get on the stage and this and this and this and that. That's my job. So I have to be the one to like keep my cool and make it happen and get through all those things. Most of the events that I was like on site for, like I remember I did events at the London Olympics and I spent most of my time like on a second tier balcony, just like watching the floor and telling people things like, there's a piece of glassware on the floor. It's at 6 o'clock. There's a, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, like, was it cool to be there? 100%. But like, was I working? Also 100%. But that's what made me good at my job, because at a certain point I could go home and turn that off. So, same thing, with entrepreneurship. Like when you start off as someone's assistant, like I'm doing all the things. Like I'm the chief trash taker out, or the chief cappuccino maker, the chief, we need invitations for something, like all those little jobs that no one wants to do. You have to do a lot of those things in entrepreneurship. And if you're too big or you think you are too good to do those jobs, I think that will kind of mess you up in entrepreneurship. As far as I'm concerned, I would never do or make someone on my team do a job that I'm not willing to do myself or that I haven't done myself. So, I think it's important when you're an entrepreneur, part of the whole experience is humbling. And I'm grateful for this entrepreneurial experience because, I was 20 something, making north of 6 figures, living in New York. Like I was kind of like, oh, this is great. Like I'm good. I'm not doing exactly. I'm not doing nothing else. This is wonderful. I'm gonna just ride this train. And, I think it would have stunted my growth as a human, and I could completely see the better human that I am today than I was back then. Not that she was bad, it's just she's more mature and she is more willing to help and pitch in and mentor and all of those things that come with starting from the bottom and, getting here. And I'm not even here yet, y'all, but you get what I'm saying. I'm on the road.
Right at the bottom, I'm on my way.
I'm on my way to here, wherever here is.
Yes. Exactly. Now tell us a little bit about your inspiration. You talked about the women who were in your life. Like who are those people who are part of your tribe and that you attribute even your success to?
Yeah, so first and foremost, first of all, I was like, I don't think I would be invited to the holiday festivities if I didn't stay with my mom. However, I will say it is the truth. My mom and I, like, she has long been my wing woman, my best friend, the person that I go to for advice, a therapist, a medical doctor. Like she has been so many things to me. And then we also have this cool one where we're business partners, and that's not common. Specifically, it's not common, being business partners in technology. And, I feel like from a young age, I was just watching her. I was just soaking in the things that she was doing to get us where we were going. And, like for parents who feel like, they're failing in some way, in the sense that like, maybe you're at the recital and you can't give it 100% attention because you got a book on your lap because you're studying for your master's degree. Your kids will remember, one, that you were there, and two, what the end result was. You brought them up with you. And so I have memories of my mom doing just that. Like, she was at the clarinet recital, but she was studying statistics. But I remember that because you do what you got to do to get where you're trying to go. And so I really couldn't imagine founding this business with anyone else, because I don't trust anyone more than her. So, so definitely, definitely my mom. But I have aunts. You know, my mom's eldest sister. She was a big force in my life. You know, she was on the school board when I was a kid. So people would, you know, when I was going through elementary school, they would say, "Oh, I'm going to call Miss Greenhill," and I'd be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" Like, you know, so so that's something that really keeps you in line as a kid, because you're like, why? Like, y'all are intense. Like, I didn't even really do anything that bad. So I definitely think that. Then I also have, like, there was a boss that I had at when I was working for LeBron. Her name is Michelle Campbell. She's still a mentor to me to this day. And the thing that I'll never forget that she said to me when I got that internship is, you know, only us internally here know that you're an intern. To everybody else, you work here. So hold yourself accordingly. And it was like, oh, you know, again, at age 19, it was like, that's big, and I'm going to take this seriously. And it doesn't matter if you are letting me help you plan a LeBron event, or if I'm answering fan mail, or if I'm cleaning the bathroom, which I did all of those. So, I mean, it's that. When I was in New York, my mentor this was one who was kind of tough love. If you've ever seen The Devil Wears Prada, she was a maniac. She was kind of like that. However, I learned a lot from her, and in a weird way, I very much appreciate her, although she was very hard on me. And she was the kind of woman, unfortunately, where when I got really good, she didn't love it because she wasn't ready for me to fly the coop, you know? So, you know, I think sometimes we have mentors, and they're not the ones that, like, give us the warm and fuzzies. They're not the ones that give us a hug when we're down or any of that. Some of the mentors come in a different form, but you got to take what you can get and learn from these people. And then as far as entrepreneurs, there are two things to name here, because I feel like the people who do this work, specifically underrepresented people, it's like a piece of all of them I get to take from the communities that we've been in, be it Nashville, Birmingham, Atlanta, or beyond. We have met so many great people over the course of this journey where, you know, we're able to look to them for inspiration or things that they've done. Like, one that comes to mind is there's a woman named Courtney Caldwell, and she owns a company with her husband called Share. They're in Texas. And, you know, we have kind of been right behind them in our journey. Like, they raise funding, then we raise funding. You know, they got an investment from a certain investor, then we got an investment from a certain investor, you know, that kind of thing. And when it came time for Google opened up a round of funding. And so when it came time for that, I reached out to her and I said, "Hey, you've received funding from Google. I'm interested in this fund. Would you recommend me?" And she said, "Done." And it was done in 60 seconds. And then when we actually did get the $100,000 award, she was actually the one that surprised me with it the day of. So we have stories like that with people on our network, and they did that for us. We will now do that for someone else. So it's very much that all boats will rise with the tide. Like, if one of us is winning, we can all win more.
That's right. I love that. That was I mean, if you all are taking anything or taking notes, I don't know what we're doing, but she is definitely dropping a lot of key nuggets. So thank you for that, Ashlee. I got a question for you just before we take break, and then we'll kind of delve a little bit more into that. I can't
even believe how much time has gone by already.
I know, right? Yes, it is definitely, it's flying. But Ashlee, so as a female, obviously woman of color that has raised, you know, over $1 million in funding, what is one thing that you could say, and we can tackle it now or tackle it when we come back from the break, but as a female raising funds, what's one piece of advice that you would give to other women entrepreneurs looking to raise capital pre-seed?
It's the best piece of advice I've ever received, which is be authentically yourself in this journey. I think sometimes the rooms that we walk into to go raise funding at this point, and hopefully the tides are changing on that, the people who are the funders don't look like us. And that forces us to feel like we need to assimilate to fit that room. Actually, you're the entrepreneur, you're the innovator, and it should probably be just the opposite. Come in as you are and give them room to adjust. It'll be all right.
Love that. Yes, that's been, Lee, that's been like when I say a resounding theme, when I think about just the guests that have come to the stage this season, it's been about authenticity. It's been about, be comfortable in, owning the space in the room. So I love that. I really do.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. All right, something for you to think about over the break. What's been the biggest surprise? I mean, you all started this company and, did your first round of investors, the friends and family round, and, and continue to grow and continue to grind. But what's been the biggest surprise that you've had? If somebody would have told you that when you started this company, that XYZ would have happened, you would have been like, oh, hell no, that wouldn't have happened. So give that some thought.
I got you.
We'll come back to you quickly, but just give that some thought. We want to get that answer when we get back. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Man, time has flown by. We're going to do this quick. We're going to get back to Ashlee. She's phenomenal. Love having her on. Hey, we want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Sherelle Lands, SherelleLands.com, Vision Strategy Management. Check her out. She's got some great books. She's got another one on the way. She's got the things that you need that will help you move ahead to really execute. And as we go into 2022, execution is going to be key. You're not going to have the excuse of it's COVID anymore. So you got people learning how to make it and execute even within COVID, because it's going to be around. We want to thank Terrell Perry at Moet Investment Services. Terrell, Terrell at MoletInvestmentServices.com. Give them a shout. Make sure you get your life insurance, your financial plan, your wealth building plan together. Holler at them. We also want to thank MJC Insurance, Mr. Leon Wright, MJCINS.com, MJCINS.com. Let them shop your insurance for you, whether it's homeowners, auto, your business policies, builders, any type of business ownership policies, your liability policies. Ask them about an umbrella policy as well. And then we want to thank Frank Stanton Developers. Check out altocontralto.com. That project has broken ground. We're excited about that. I got some stuff to tell you all about that process, but that's a whole nother show. And then thetableaction.com, www.thetableaction.com. Check it out and get involved if it's something that you think you can bring something to or get something out of. Let's get back to Ashlee, Sherelle.
All right, so let's bring Ashlee back up. Hey, Ashlee.
Hey.
All right, we did that in 2 minutes. All right. Do I need to restate the question?
No. I mean, I would say the most obvious one. So the question was, for anybody that didn't hear it, the question was, what's something that's like shocked you about this entrepreneurial journey? And certainly there are many things that have shocked me about this journey, but I think it's really the length of time, because I think that when you see it in media, like it looks like, you come up with an idea, rough it for like 6 months, and then in month 7 things just go up and to the right, and it's great. And I don't know that to be true. I know a lot of people who support that that's not true. That is like the anomaly, the exception to the rule. Like there are so many years where when you're an entrepreneur, it can be incredibly lonely, and you are grinding and no one's worried about you. Like, I've mentioned like some of these brands, today, like the Googles of the world. And, my mom was talking to Salesforce earlier and stuff like that. Trust and believe, those things are years in the making, because there were years where it was us doing the mundane things that you do to get a business going, but nobody is checking on you, for sure. And it is those of us who are resilient and can get through that part of the journey that then get to see this other side. But entrepreneurship, building a business, it takes longer than you would expect.
I love that. And would you say, when you think about your journey and you think about the process of building, and even as you introspectively look at yourself, what, if any, did you face any self-limiting beliefs? Did you have to kind of get in the mirror and get yourself out of the way in order to push forward? If so, what was that like for you?
100%. So let me say, I am, like, as I have said, and I don't know if y'all got this from me, but my personality type is extremely type A, and I like order and structure and repeatability and all these things. And in entrepreneurship, it doesn't really exist, because one moment you're like, oh my gosh, we're going to kill it. We're crushing it. And then it's like, oh my God, business is failing. We're not going to make it, drowning. So, and like, that's just like within a couple hours of each other. So, I think that I had those limiting beliefs. The biggest thing that I'll say about limiting beliefs is when I first moved from New York to Nashville, I had trouble adjusting at first. And the reason was I was, late 20s. I had been living by myself in New York in an apartment, just able to come and go as I please. I hadn't really lived at home since I was 17, because I lived on campus. I would come home for the summers, but that's it. And then I went straight to New York. I moved home to a lovely family home, but at the end of the day, it was my family home that was in a suburb of Nashville, and it removed me from my immediate, like, the immediate circle that I felt like I needed to be in. And it was kind of isolating. And because of that, I kind of fell into a depression. And I know I did, because I was like sleeping all the time. And, it showed itself in other ways. But my big thing is I'm a huge believer in therapy, and entrepreneurs there is a higher percent of entrepreneurs than the general population that have, that are, predisposed to having mental health issues because of all the things that we're facing that are outside of the norm, right? And so for entrepreneurs, one of the best things that you can do for yourself is counseling, therapy, whatever. And the thing about it is, therapy is not a tool for when you're in crisis. Therapy is a tool to help you through crisis. So you should be doing therapy. Start therapy when everything is magnificent. And then when things aren't magnificent, because that's how life goes, you'll be able to handle it better. So I did therapy. I got prescribed medication that worked for me. And then I was all the better. The other thing I'll say is the limiting beliefs, I know where they came from. They came from Instagram and Facebook and all those things where you can compare yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. I say this all the time. You have to keep your blinders on when you're building your thing, because it's not like anybody else's thing. And so you can't say, oh, I'm at this stage, I should have done that, or I should be in this, or, oh my gosh, why didn't the press call me, or whatever the case is. If you do that, you're destined for just sadness, and you really have to stay in your own lane. So, for me, like, if something's bothering me with social media or whatnot, the mute button is the best thing ever. I don't need to see that.
That's awesome. I love that. Keep your blinders on while you are grinding. Comparison is a thief of joy. My goodness. Now tell us really quickly, what would you say was the tipping point for you in Mixtroz?
That made me buy in fully, like as an entrepreneur? Or what do you mean by tipping point?
What was the tipping point for you when you went from investment to revenue?
We saw it work in real time. I mean, there's like a date when that happened. The date is 3/5/16. 3/5/16, and it was the first time someone had paid us. Someone had paid us to use the product, and literally the exact use case that we built the product for, we saw it happen in real time. So, our use case at that point was people are at a live event, they answer some questions inside of our application, and then our application groups them, tells them where to meet, and gives them things to talk about. We saw that play out, and it worked so well that the venue shut off the lights, meaning the venue was like, I understand that y'all are connecting, but y'all need to go elsewhere and finish connecting. So we were like, well, wow, that really worked. And that was, that was a revenue moment, that was software work moment, and that was also the moment that it was like, I'm gonna leave New York now. Okay. So all of those things, it was like all of those things combined. But hear what I said, that was back in 2016. It's 2021 now. It's crazy.
So Ashlee, let's think about your corporate career, your entrepreneurship career. What are the parallels? What are the tangibles and intangibles that you have to be successful at either one of them? And are they separate? Are they combined? How do you utilize those?
I would almost say, certainly being a director of events, like that job, because when you're a director of events, your job is essentially to make sure all the people that you've hired to make the vision come to life have done what they're supposed to do. Like, you need to make sure that the food and beverage gets there, that the decor is right, that the artist is on time, like all those things. So you're just making sure the plan that you've laid is working. And if it's not working, you need to quickly address it, pivot, whatever it takes to make it happen. All of those skills are, of course, applicable to entrepreneurship. But I would even say, as the executive assistant, that's the role that I started with in New York. I would say some of the skills that I have, like as far as multitasking, being able to juggle many balls at once, being a Jill of all trades, I'm gonna call it being a Jalisa of all trades, like that kind of thing. That really gets you ready for entrepreneurship. Another thing that I'll say is, even my degree, I didn't realize how helpful it will be. So way back when I was in college, I actually thought I was going to be a news anchor. That's what I was like, oh, yep, I'm going to be a news anchor. That's, it's a wrap. I love the news, whatever. And so I have a broadcast communications and public relations degree. And, pitching is a huge part of being an entrepreneur, in the sense that you pitch your business to investors. You might do that in a room, you might do it on a stage, but being comfortable in those scenarios and getting really good at it. There have been instances where I have been on a stage 10 other very impressive products that some of them raised $10 million in funding and that kind of thing. And I've beat those people because I'm good at pitching and I can bring you in. And also I practice. So it is on point when it's time to deliver the thing. So, I think that's important. And then on the opposite side of that, when I give a demo to a customer, I haven't had a demo in a good long while where the person hasn't got off the phone well, that's really something, So, having that ability to do that, to draw people in, to tell a story, it's important. So I think that things that you might study in school or skills that you pick up early on, even if you're a sales associate, again, you're getting the idea of, you work in a store, you're a sales associate, so you need to pitch the product. As people are coming in, you need to pitch the product. All kinds of things like that, they pour into what an entrepreneur is. That's why entrepreneurship should be equitable for anyone. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you have a formal education or not. If you have life experience, if you have passion and a good idea and a little bit of luck, you can make it happen.
All right.
Love that. Good idea with luck.
Yes, indeed.
So let's make sure we capture Sharonda Scott. Did you have something, Lee? You want to go ahead?
I was going to Sharonda's question. Yeah. So
okay.
Sharonda says, describe a situation you were in that was uncomfortable, but you learned something great, and share what you learned. And she says, thank you.
Yeah. I would say the first one that's coming to mind, I feel like it's just so my mom and I had an investor at one point who suggested that my mom's age kind of canceled her out from being the CEO, and I should be the CEO because I'm a millennial and that's more desirable. Like, and so a couple things are wrong with that. So, and let me just say, this was in the pre Me Too, Us Too, Them Too, Black Lives Matter. None of that was mattering back when this happened. So number one, the to think that someone would be so ageist to someone's face is a mess. Number two, if you look at the data, entrepreneurs over 40 are actually more successful than their millennial peers. And the reason for that is, life experience. Like, life experience makes you prepared for the things that may or may not be coming your way. So that, and it was just a rude thing to say, because obviously we set up our business in the correct way. My mom is in fact CEO of Mixtroz, and that's because her corporate experience makes her perfectly suited for that job. Investor relations, finance, legal things, etc. Whereas my experience, I am operationally sound. I am able to speak to the different pieces, parts, and people and departments that we have coming together to make the day-to-day of the business work. My mom is very macro and I'm very micro. And so that's why we set our business up accordingly. So we let this person talk to us in a way that was just not right. But one thing that we did after that, because it was an emotional thing to hear somebody just say that to you, this is the perception, whatever. And the thing that we learned is, like, speak your truth. Like, all money isn't good money. And so if you speak your truth to someone after they say a grand statement like that, and then they don't want to write a check to you, that money wasn't for you anyway, and it's okay to walk away from money, right? So the thing that we did follow up, though, is with email, where we were like, let's check you on a couple things. And then that whole thing got squashed. So I think there's been so many instances of feeling discomfort, being uncomfortable, and then, like, again, going back to the leaning in our truth and who we are. I think that got us to where we were going. There were instances where my mom and I would go to tech conferences and people would come up to us and literally say, can y'all get me a gin and tonic? And we'd be like, hey, we're exhibiting with you. We can't do that. My mom would say to them, like, well, if you find one, if you could bring me one too, that'd be great. So keep it light. But in response to that, we got these T-shirts made that said Black female founder fund me. Come authentically as yourself. That turned into like a $10 marketing opportunity where we got a piece in Forbes, got sent to Copenhagen as a result of that, and ultimately met the people in charge of the program that landed us in Birmingham. So I cannot say enough about leaning into who you are and what your story is. And the other thing is, even if you're in a business and the business fails, like you run out of money, you got to close it, whatever the case is, it's not a failure in life, because at the end of the day, entrepreneurs are totally employable because we can do anything. I said, we're not used to 9 to 5s. We're used to 24/7s, right? So it's like, you will be an asset always. Entrepreneurs, there will always be a job for you somewhere on the road to thinking of the next thing.
Yep. Love it. We got a couple shout outs. Borden Dinah, Vortech, Lakita. I see Lakita Stribling on here checking you out. And just a number of other people just checking you out. So just want to let you know that people are showing you some love. Obviously, your mother is blowing up the.
That's you know what, because she's coming to make sure I don't say nothing. That after this call, she'll be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe."
The eagle is flying now. Man, it's only got like 5 minutes left.
It's crazy. It went fast, I'll tell you.
Yes, it does.
So what
it really does.
What parting advice or words would you like to share with the audience? And is there a pitch or an ask or anything that have we talked about exactly what Mixtroz does?
I did. I gave a brief, I would say, overview in the beginning, but for anybody that missed, we are a software. If you do anything with people, at your job, any gathering of people whatsoever, be it a meeting, be it an event, be it training, onboarding, whatever, we are a software that can help with that. So we build community and collect data on demand. We do it for enterprise, events, and education. Associations is one of our new sweet spots. You know, as I think of parting device, so first of all, our advice, first of all, Lee and Sherelle, you know, thank you for inviting me to be on. I think it's like full circle that Kerry did last go around, and I'm going to do it this go round.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Sorry for anybody that I make uncomfortable calling my mom Kerry. She's my business partner, so that's why I do that. But when I, you know, just parting advice is, these last couple years were hard. They, you know, they were hard. You know, we saw a lot of people go out of business, you know, and, you know, run out of money and all the scary things. But I think if you're still here standing, like you're still like whatever you're tuning in for, be it to support Lee and Sherelle, to get information, to just soak in things for something that you might be thinking of doing, you know, I think by definition you are resilient, because there's a lot of people who have just kind of stopped and turned things off because it got too hard. And so, you know, I think that just being here and still wanting to be better and build and grow in the face of all this scary stuff that has happened, these racial reckonings, these, you know, good Lord, tornadoes, you know, COVID, like all these things. Like if you're here trying to get information to expand your mind, you are by definition resilient. So, you know, I congratulate you on that. And I congratulate myself on it, because it has not been easy. It has not been not scary. There have not been moments where like the other day, I just burst into tears for no reason. So all of that happens, I'm telling you. You know, life is a roller coaster, and you know, for those of us who are still able to be in it, on it, hustling, you know, what a blessing. Like I take it as such a blessing that my mom and I are still able to do this, because please remember, when the pandemic hit, we had a business that was based on live events, and they stopped happening overnight. And so we had to figure it out. And so everything is figure outable, I feel like, is my parting words of wisdom. Like, you can figure things out. It might not look like what you thought it was going to look like or what anybody else did, but you can figure it out, whatever the best decision on things is for you. So keep going.
And what are your handles? How can people follow you, reach out to you? What can they do?
So I'm easy to find by email. So I'm literally Ashlee, 2 E's, at mixtroz.com. We are at Mixtroz across everything on social media. So at MIXTROZ, you will know you found us because it's Conversation Bubbles. And then on Instagram too, I am at SheMixALot87. So that's where you can find me. And you see what I did there? You see that branding, Mixtroz, She Mix a Lot. I was using that head for more than a hat rack, as my mom says. My grandma says.
I love it.
Fantastic. Ashlee, it has been amazing to have you on tonight, especially as it relates to closing out season 3. I keep wanting to say season 2, but season
congratulations to you all, by the way. That's great.
Thank you.
It's been fun. We'll be back in January. Go ahead, Lee.
No, I just say it's been fun, and we've had some great support just along the way, and we've had, some amazing guests. And you know, I do encourage you all, while we're on our break, to go to our Facebook page, Women with Grit, and check out the replays. You can go to our YouTube channel, Women with Grit, and check out replays. Go to the website and check out replays, because there's just been some phenomenal women that we've been able to interview and meet across the world. And Ashlee, you closed it out in grand fashion. So thank you very much.
Welcome.
I
think it's phenomenal. Shout out to all of our followers, people that Sharonda Scott, you know, you've been there with us, rocking and rolling, and so many of you. Floyd Gibbs, my lion brother, and your wife Alicia. We just appreciate all you all. Cedric Milner had a shout out. Had greetings, family. He's encouraging people to check out the replay as well as, and he said safe travels to everyone. So Sherelle, it's all on you.
Awesome. Okay, Ashlee, so this has been phenomenal. As you have been sharing your pearls of wisdom, I have just been capturing them so that I can recap them for our guests. And if you are just tuning in, guys, listen, you want to go ahead and catch the replay. You can find it on any one of our channels. You can find it on Facebook. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on our website. You can find it on several different aspects, even within Facebook as well. But we thank you for your time. We thank you for definitely checking in. Ashlee said, life prepares you for what it's prepared for you, right? So making sure that we take on all of the things that come our way and be able to find the beauty in them and recognize that it is a part of our preparation process. Do your job well. Humility carries you a long way. And she talked about, sometimes you have to take on those mundane tasks or tasks that people wouldn't normally want to do, especially as a leader and even as an entrepreneur. So you have to be willing to do those, especially if those are jobs that you want to ultimately farm out. You do what you have to do in order to get where you have to go. Being able to do, again, the work, being able to kind of buckle down and get it done. Hold yourself accordingly. Do not be afraid to do the grunt work. Recognize that mentors oftentimes come in forms that you might not expect. It's sometimes the tough love, but being able to find the wisdom in every conversation or every individual helps you to get where you need to go. So be comfortable in it and also use it. Be authentically yourself. You are who you are for whatever reason or purpose that you are destined to for life. So be comfortable being yourself. When it comes to being even a woman or a man going up for an ask in an investment form, just be your authentic self and speak your truth. Stand by what is firm. You are the expert. You are the leader of your craft, and being able to recognize that and speak to that is important. Be resilient. And then even as an entrepreneur, and I'm so glad you touched on that, Ashlee, which is the aspect of being able to seek help when help is needed, recognizing you don't have to journey this alone and that there are others who are there as well. So wherever you need therapy, counseling, support, that there's nothing wrong with that. Seek that out where it is definitely needed. Comparison is the thief of joy. Keep your blinders on. When it comes to building, someone else's lane or someone else's building might not be yours. Your finish line may not necessarily be the same. So recognize that sometimes those distractions only take your eyes off of the prize. Keep your eyes focused on your own prize. Recognize that all money is not good money. And sometimes that bad money may cause you to compromise when you are looking for that good money, or it causes you to compromise your vision. So focus on what fits within your space. Speak your truth and own that. Lean into who you are and your story. Recognize that your story is uniquely yours and everyone needs to hear it. You can figure things out, whatever it is, in whichever season you find yourself. No one's experienced COVID before, and yet, guess what? We're figuring it out. So recognize that regardless of what the situation is, you have the ability to figure things out. And then the last thought is really to check in with yourself. Check in with your emotions, how you're feeling, and don't just bypass that. Really sit and soak in it and understand what is required there. Ashlee, you have been amazing. What a way to close out season 3.
Yes.
Well, thank y'all so much for having me. It was fun.
Thank you. And happy holidays, everyone. If you're traveling, be safe. If you're at home, be safe. If you have loved ones that you haven't talked to in a while, you may be a little, pissed off at each other. Reach out. People are leaving this planet and this earth, and you don't get a redo once they're gone. So let it go.
Right.
Let it go. And just, reach out, talk to them, love on them, forgive them, stuff like that. I've had to do it too. So.
That's it.
Yeah. That's the way of life.
That's a whole episode.
Guys,
yes.
It really is. We will be back we will be back with season 4 starting on January 11th of 2022, kicking off season 4. But even though we're on break, you can still catch the replay. So we will be putting on replays for the next couple of weeks, but just recognize that the official start of next season is January 11th. And if you know of a woman with grit that you would recommend, have them just simply reach out to us on www.womenwithgrit.com.
All right. Everybody have a great week. And again, happy holidays.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.